Assalamualaikum. So today my friends and I will be discussing on the topic five scenarios that could cause a US-China war in 2026 for philosophy and current issues. In our delivery, we will examine of the potential for conflict between the United States and China through philosophical and moral lenses rather than focusing only on the military sides. In this discussion, we will explore five hypothetical scenarios that could cause or potentially trigger a war between the United States and China in 2026. Each scenario will be analyzed using a philosophical framework to help us understand the moral, political, and social dimensions of modern conflict. The main objective of our delivery is to evaluate how human decision, ideologies, and power dynamic can lead to major outbreak of war.
Now let's go to the unthinkable question. Could a single incident ignite a global war? Imagine a world where mounting geopolitical tensions between global superpowers reach a boiling point. In the year 2026, the delicate balance of power between the United States and China faces unprecedented strain. Beyond military might and political maneuvering, this escalating situation forces us to confront a more profound philosophical question. Why do wars happen? And can they ever be morally justified? This presentation will not merely hypothesize conflict, it will probe the ethical underpinnings and human choices that lead nations to war. Next, we go beyond the battlefield. War as a moral and political act. War is fundamentally more than a clash of armaments and strategic maneuvers. It is a complex human endeavor deeply intertwined with moral responsibility. The pursuit of power and the narratives we construct. To understand the potential for conflict, we must examine it through multiple philosophical lenses. First of all, just war theory. This framework evaluates the moral permissibility of war, establishing conditions for engaging in conflict, jus ad bellum, and ethical conduct within a war, jus in bello. Next is political realism, focuses on power, politics, national interests, and the inherent self-interest of states, often viewing morality as secondary to survival and security. Third is post I'm sorry. Third is postmodernism, which examines how media, dominant narratives, and subjective proofs shape perceptions of conflict, questioning the existence of objective reality in a post-truth era. These perspectives will help us dissect each scenario, moving beyond simple causality to deeper ethical and existential questions.
Okey, senario satu. Kita akan mendalami lah. Jadi kalau kita tengok kat bawah tu ada soalan. Does the principle of defending democratic self-determination justify making a global war that could cost millions of lives and destabilize the international order? So, kalau kita tengok, um, kalau kita ikut teori just war, mempertahankan demokrasi ni sebuah kewajipan lah. Tapi kita tak boleh sewenang-wenangnya declare perang. Kita kena tengok dulu asbab. Adakah ini jalan terakhir yang ada? Adakah peluang menang? Yang paling penting, berbaloi ke perang. Kalau perang tu menyebabkan kematian berjuta manusia, lepas tu menyebabkan dunia jadi pecah kacir, semua pihak rugi. Alasan moral terus tak jadi. Alasan moral tu kira tak function lah. Kalau kita tengok dari sudut political realism pula, negara kuasa besar ni macam US tak pandang sangat isu moral. Bagi dorang, Taiwan ni merupakan sebuah kepentingan yang strategik untuk US kepung China. Bukannya soal demokrasi sangat. Natijahnya, demokrasi ni penting, tapi tanggungjawab menjaga nyawa manusia ni jauh lebih besar daripada mengejar idea politik yang akhirnya akan menyebabkan kepada kehancuran global. Okey, sekarang kita akan mendalami persoalan di senario 2 pula, itu South China Sea. Soalan dia adalah, in a contested sea, who truly owns the waters? Those with historical claims, those with military power, or those who adhere to international law? Jadi kita kena bayangkan sebuah kawasan yang bukan sekadar air dan ombak, tapi nadi kepada ekonomi dunia. Sebab kapal tiap-tiap hari akan lalu kawasan ni. Itulah Laut Cina Selatan. Ia bukan saja laluan perdagangan yang kritikal, malah tersimpan ribuan kekayaan hasil bumi di dasar. Tapi hari ini, kawasan ini bukan lagi simbol kemakmuran. Sebaliknya, ia dah jadi periuk api geopolitik yang menunggu masa nak menutup sahaja. Okey, sekarang kita nampak kehadiran tentera laut Amerika Syarikat dan China semakin kerap bertembung. Isu dia bukan sekadar siapa yang lagi power, tapi betapa nipisnya sepadan antara keamanan dan juga peperangan. Satu mistake ataupun satu kemalahan kecil je, kapal terlanggar ke atau tertembak ke, walaupun tak sengaja, ah, boleh jadi asbab menjadi konflik yang sangat besar yang semua pihak tak mampu nak kawal. Ah, ini membawa kepada satu persoalan falsafah yang besar juga lah. Sebenarnya, siapa yang berhak ke atas perairan ini? Adakah sejarah yang menjadi penentu? Adakah undang-undang antarabangsa? Atau adakah ia tertakluk kepada kuasa tentera negara tersebut? Secara idealnya, kita mahu undang-undang antarabangsa yang menang, tapi dalam dunia realiti, undang-undang tanpa penguatkuasaan hanyalah sekadar kertas. Apabila kuasa besar mula menunjuk taring, hak sering kali ditentukan oleh siapa yang mempunyai kapal perang paling banyak ataupun siapa yang paling power lah. Ini adalah dilema moral. Adakah kita sanggup biarkan prinsip might is right, yang kata lain, siapa kuat dia menang, mengatasi keadilan? Natijahnya, jika kita gagal mencari titik pertemuan, kita bukan sahaja berisiko kehilangan sumber asli atau laluan dagang, tapi kita mempertaruhkan nyawa jutaan manusia sejagat.
Moving on, an accidental military incident, the unintended spark, the sheer volume of military activity in contested regions, from surveillance flights to naval exercises, creates an inherent risk of unintended confrontation. Close encounters between military assets of both nations are routine, and the line between assertive posturing and aggressive action is often razor thin. A critical equipment malfunction, a miscommunication, or even human error during one of these encounters could lead to an incident with severe consequences. The immediate challenge would be managing the information flow and preventing rapid escalation based on incomplete and misinterpreted data. The Cuban Missile Crisis served as a stark reminder of how close the world can come to catastrophe through misjudgment. The philosophical question is, when a war begins not from deliberate intent, but from an unforeseeable mistake, who bears the moral responsibility for the ensuring destruction and loss of life? Then we go to cyber warfare and AI, the ghost in the machine. Modern warfare has expanded beyond physical domains into digital realm. Cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure, financial systems, or military networks can inflict significant damage without firing a single shot. Both the US and China possess advanced cyber capabilities, making them primary actors in the cyber battlefield. The integration of artificial intelligence (AI) into military decision making further complicates the scenario. AI-driven systems can process information and execute action at speeds far exceeding human capacity, raising concerns about autonomous escalation. A sophisticated cyber attack potentially attributed incorrectly or an AI system misinterpreting intent could trigger a rapid and irreversible chain of events. The philosophical question is, as technology advances, should the ultimate decisions regarding life and death, war and peace, be delegated to machines and algorithms, bypassing human judgment and ethical deliberation?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Rakib Prince. I'm presenting slide 9 to 11. So, in slide 9, present scenario 5, propaganda and media escalation, the narrative form. So, in today's age of instant communication, public perception is as powerful as any weapon because both USA and China engage in intense information warfare using state media and social media to really domestic support and undermine the opponent. In 2026, any single aggressive propaganda campaign or false flag report could fuel nationalistic anger to a point where diplomatic peace become politically impossible. So we are living in a post-truth environment uh, where object facts are challenged by subjective narratives. So this leads us to our mm, so in the last slide, uh, we we can we will outline three key Islamic principles that act as a safeguard in times of conflict. First of all, war as last resort. So, war as last resort, conflict is only permitted for defense after every single peaceful avenue has been exhausted. That I mentioned earlier, that Islam didn't teach us how to fight with anyone without any reason. Only after when we cannot live peacefully. And second, protection of civilians. That is really important. If any war began, then most of the time our civilian are mostly injurious. But we need to focus on our civilians and property. That's really important. And justice over victory. So justice over victory is the true goal of conflict is not we need to remember the true goal of a conflict is not a aggressive gain or pride but the establishment of justice and the um, prevention of operation. So that's main focus we should. And in the context of 2026 conflict, these principles remind us that even in war there must be a boundary of humanity. So thank you. Assalamu alaikum.